What's up, guys? I'm here with my man Diego Sanchez. Diego, welcome to Perform.
Hey, pleasure to be here. Got some Nutrabolics right here in my hand, and happy to be here in Vegas. Happy to be here shooting the shit with you. We've got a beautiful, beautiful sunset out that window, and just talking Nutrabolics, man. Talking the 20 years that you and Rodney have been in this game and developing this brand, and all the challenges that came with it, just like my 20-year UFC career.
I know. So, in 20 years, obviously, you've had a lot of things happen to you, good, bad, sad. Is there something that stands out for you that, you would have, if you could change something from the past in 20 years, would you change anything?
That is a great question, Jayson. As far as being a human being and making mistakes, I learned from my mistakes, and I wouldn't change much. But I definitely would have talked to little young Diego and been like, hey, bro, it's cool to celebrate victory, but drinking ain't cool if you want to be a UFC champion. You know what I mean? Because just I never was hardcore on the alcohol, and I was in and out of camps. But when I wasn't in training camps, there was, 2 weeks, 3 weeks where I'd be drinking too much. And just looking back, I like to give that message to the youth, man. Like to the youth out there, all these kids and teens and young men that want to be champions, champion fighters, champion boxers, champion whatever you want to be. I just gotta say the truth, man. Like you be careful with that alcohol, man, because it will sneak up on you and it could rob you from your success.
Yeah, I recently watched something where Mike Tyson obviously talked about, not wanting to touch alcohol. And, he's obviously made a huge change in his entire lifestyle. Wow. Have you followed what how he's changed? And
everything? Man, dude, I've been following Mike ever since since his comeback fight with Roy Jones, and even before that, I love Mike. He's been. I'm actually wearing the actual Mike Tyson shorts. These are the ones that he went into the ring with. He didn't have no sponsors on his shit. He got a Go America and a USA, and that's it. And he's obviously he's one of my favorite fighters of all time, and it's inspiring to see everything that he's doing now. And watching him just show the sensitive side to the world, with his podcast, and also his spirituality, and some of the rabbit holes he's gone down to find his purpose and just his own personal ideal of who is Mike Tyson. And that's a journey that we're all on, and I believe that even Mike is still asking that question and still figuring out that question for himself, as I am for myself. Who is Diego Sanchez? Well, I'm someone that has a lot of love inside me, and I'm someone that believes whatever you put out into the universe, you're gonna get back. So for me, I'm all about, saying thank you. So thank you for letting me be here with you guys, and just giving that love back, just loving as many people as I can, helping as many people as I can. And that's why I gotta get into the gym industry too, because that's hands-on, and it's, you're helping people, man. You're helping people live healthy, helping people be healthy, exercise and breathe, and like I said about all the healing talk that I'm talking about, man, your stiff back ain't gonna heal itself, man. You gotta get down on the ground. You gotta stretch. You gotta bust a foam roller out. You gotta learn how to breathe. You gotta do the work. And I'm a big believer in God, and I like to have faith in miracles, but miracles don't just come out of thin air. You got to put the work in. You got to be doing that extra 3 hours of therapy. You got to be having those meditations and affirmations going on, working on your mind too. You got to be putting in the spiritual work. You got to be putting in the food work, the drink work, all of it. You got to put it all together, and that's when the real magic happens.
In all of the fights that you've been in, you've been in a lot of fights, obviously. Who would you say was the hardest? Was there maybe someone where you had a moment where you were like, fuck, like you maybe underestimated them, maybe they caught you? Give us some insight on that.
Without a doubt, it all goes back to my dream, becoming the UFC champion, and getting that fight with BJ Penn. And it was hard with BJ because me and BJ, we were friends for 3-4 years before we fought. We were close. And once I went down to 155, he kind of knew, like, he's like, now you're at 55, okay, we can't be best buds, and when I went in there to fight BJ, I fought BJ at his best, man. Even Anderson Silva, they're calling him the GOAT, and he's like, no, I'm not the GOAT, BJ's the GOAT. Like, that guy's the 2 division champion. That's the guy who is jiu-jitsu world champion. That could strike and knock out anybody. That guy's the champ. And I faced him at his best, and he knew that if he slacked one little bit on the strength and conditioning, the training, the conditioning, that I was going to get him in the deeper water and he was going to suck gas, because BJ's motivation was never, he's the phenom, and he didn't want to do the extra work. He didn't want to do the extra stuff. But with me, he did, because he knew if he took me any bit lightly, I was going to take that belt from him. And it wasn't my destiny to win that fight, but it was still legendary. I put on a great show of heart. And me and BJ to this day, we're brothers. When I go out to Hawaii, he takes me to the Valley of the Kings, and we go to all the beaches and we do all the stuff together. But fighting BJ, man, getting hit with that first punch that I didn't see, and then he followed up with a good 25 more punches while I was on the ground. And I swear to God, I watch that fight still to this day, and I'm like, dude, like, how'd you survive that? I'm like, dude, like, damn, dude, you are tough. Like, I'll watch that fight, I'm like, damn, dude, Diego, you are tough. I'll tell myself, because like how did I survive that? While it was mostly the conditioning, and had to be a little bit of some prayers too, because that was one of the fights that I got my ass kicked so bad. My first real true humbling of my life outside of that fight when I was 9 years old. This was the second humbling. And when I got that second humbling, I took the most head damage of my whole career, and I didn't even have a concussion for that fight. So it's just like, that was the worst ass kicking. I didn't even have a concussion. I didn't have memory loss, nothing like that. I felt fine after the fight, after they stitched me back together, put me back together, and just heartbreak, just heartbreak to reach that position at the top of the mountain where you have a chance of making your dream come true, and just falling that short. Ooh, it was salt in the wound for me, but I didn't give up. A lot of men would have given up on themselves. I didn't give up on myself, and I kept pressing forward. I kept working hard, kept dreaming of becoming the UFC champion. And I haven't really let my dream of becoming a champion go. Maybe I'm not in UFC right now, but I still hold the dream of holding a belt around my waist before I exit this combat sports game. I just want to put that belt on my shoulder, and man, I got my eyes on that Eagle FC 165-pound belt right now. I can still see that bare knuckle fighting championship belt. They got a 165-pound division too, and we'll see, man. And the reason I wanted to do the big fight with Dan Hardy on the boxing is because I knew, with my name value, my face value, and the history that I put into combat sports, that with that chip that I have, that I would be able to actually promote and sell myself to some other ideas, like Triller, like a Jake Paul fight, like a Nate Diaz, whatever fight. Like, there's just other fights out there that are big names, that are big fights, that aren't in the UFC. And I knew that going out there and knocking Dan Hardy out in Manchester, England, stealing the show from Ricky Hatton and Marco Antonio Barrero, I knew that would have cemented a big fight for me. Whether it be, who cares? I really don't even care. The one fight that would be the biggest fight for me in my life would be Oscar De La Hoya, because he had all the talk about coming back to fight GSP. That Dana White held GSP out of that fight, contracted him out. But if he's talking like he's going to make a comeback, he's going to have to fight someone that he realistically thinks he can beat. And I feel like I was that guy that could step in there, possibly get a Jake Paul fight. And then there's also the guy, there's Connor, there's Nate, there's Clay Guida. Me and Gilbert Melendez were talking on the phone, and Gilbert's like, he's like, I think we have something. I think we can promote a rematch with me and you, and we can both get paid. I'm like, yeah, me too. He's like, but D, I can never get kicked in my leg again. He's like, I could only do boxing or bare knuckle. He's like, I can't ever get kicked in that leg again.
I love this shit so much. I love it, and that's why I told you, for the mental health aspect of it, I'm gonna have my own gym, because it's the teaching, it's the sharing, it's the doing it with love that is what makes me who I am. And so, yeah, now to get me some catabolic, yeah, man, this thing doesn't even got much caffeine in it, but I get hyper, man, when I start moving, when I start thinking about how important it is to defend yourself when you're doing these combat sports. And nowadays, not too many people are really taught to understand the dynamics of defense. They're taught only to learn the dynamics of offense, because that's what people want to see is offense, and offense is what we think wins. But if you can develop your defensive strategies and abilities to be pure and perfect, you're going to be like Floyd Mayweather, man, where the guy's not even getting hit his whole career. I think I've seen him get hit like 3-4 times his whole career, like legit hits. And that's because he learned and mastered defense. I didn't master defense quite like Floyd Mayweather, for he is a boxer and I'm a mixed martial artist, and the defenses to my sport and his sport are different. But as far as learning to be ambidextrous at the end of my career, learning how to be able to fight both stances, this has opened up a whole new world for what I can do in the striking elements of the fight. Because if I cannot be as well-rounded on the ground as I am on the feet, I'm gonna meet my foe and I will be defeated. And so in martial arts, you have to be well-rounded all around, but you must learn defense if you want to be the best champion.
Well, let's see these bare knuckles. I want to see these bare knuckles. Let's see a little what you've been doing up in camp.
So, bare knuckle changes the whole game. You don't got no gloves on your knuckle. You don't got no gloves on your hands. You got bone to bone. It's gonna create lacerations. This is much more danger in breaking your hands, and body shots. Man, ribs will break when you don't have gloves on. Ribs will break, and it is a dangerous sport. But still, what does it all come back to? The jab. All right, the jab. When throwing the jab, it has to be fast. No baby jabs here. We're throwing real jabs. When I throw my jab, I'm gonna pull this hand back a little bit. I'm gonna turn this one all the way over. All right. So that I get my full extension. When I throw my jab, boom! I'm not throwing no baby jab. I ain't throwing no. Everything comes off the jab. Once I'm here, boom! It's always fast. It's always hard, and it's through. It's through the pad. You gotta be real with this. It's not like MMA, because MMA, The jab is a rangefinder. I'm range finding you. Look, I'm setting you up so I can hit you with the other one. You know, but in boxing and bare knuckle boxing, you have to be in the right position at the right time to throw it. Bah! You know, and then when you're coming in for the second combination, you're gonna give me some respect. You're gonna respect me, and that's the initial first engagement of any kind of combat sports, is who's gonna earn the respect of the opponent first. Because if you don't respect your opponent and your opponent doesn't respect you, it's a matter of time before one person completely is taking control of the fight. You know, and so it all has to come with confidence. So when I start off any type of fight, bare knuckle, MMA, karate, boxing, whatever it is, I'm going out there and I'm gonna touch you first. And I'm gonna touch you with intention, I'm gonna touch you with speed, I'm gonna touch you with power, because that is how I'm going to earn your respect. Once I earn your respect, then it's may the better man win. Bare knuckle, hands up. Muay Thai, hands up. Boxing, hands don't gotta be so up. We don't got kicks coming at us. We don't got elbows. We don't got snap kicks coming at you. So this is what dynamics is. And for me as a martial artist who's competed in wrestling, grappling, MMA, boxing, kickboxing, and Muay Thai, it's about blending all these different dynamics of striking, ground, and all the elements of combat. And so for me, it's just learning how I can be the most efficient, best combat athlete and take the least amount of damage. Take the least amount of damage. And for the most of my career, I was a pressure fighter. Pure pressure fighter. I'm gonna put you back. I'm gonna take 2 hits to get in and give you 3. And at the end of my career, it wasn't until I was 37, 38, until I started really investing in the research of defense. What is the best offense? The best offense is defense. And that's what I learned. If you want to be a fighter that fights into your 40s, like I am 40 years old now, you better learn defense. You better learn how to, what's the number one defensive movement? Just move. Footwork, moving correctly, learning how to step in all the directions, in an ambidextrous mindset. I could go this way, I could go southpaw this way, I could go orthodox this way, but I'm always looking to be the matador for the bull. Boom! Straight to the heart. Oh, my boy's book! You didn't even sign it for me?
I don't know. You signed it.
Did I sign it?
You signed it.
Okay.
But you gotta put it to Diego and then me. Hell yeah, man. This is what it's all about right here. Motivation, bro. Look, dude. I love that. I love the way you it's a whole book?
It's a whole guide. It's a whole guide. You can fill it in, fill in your goals. Got some quotes in there.
Bro.
This took me 4 years.
Can I have this?
Yeah, it's yours. Yeah, bro. That's
Yeah.
yours.
Dude,
100%.
congrats on this, bro.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but I wanted to put something out there that was, motivational, something that could help people. Because, when we started with nothing, right? It was just 2 kids with a dream, right? And
Dude, I swear, bro, dude, this book might be done by tonight, bro.
yeah, it's designed for people out there to just go after it. Like, let's go. You got an idea, you got something you want to do, write it down. Say it out loud, and this just gives you the steps that you need to kind of make it happen, make it a reality. Because a lot of people, they're always waiting for the perfect time. There's no perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect time. You just got to go. Let's go. That's the whole point of the book, is let's make it happen, And that's kind of how I put it together. And I wanted something, that wasn't just all text, because there's a lot of books out there where people just look at it and they get bored with it. So
you got to have a little bit of interaction in the book.
Yeah.
I like, the power of the pen, right?
Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? You write it down, you speak it.
You know,
This is awesome, bro.
show us a quote that stands out for you to the camera, something that you connect with, that resonates with you.
Here we go. Energy flows where intention goes. And the first time that I heard this was where the focus goes, the energy goes. Or where the focus goes, the energy flows. I believe is the first time I heard it from a Wim Hof seminar that I did with the Iceman Wim Hof. And he's a good friend of mine too. And I was going down my rabbit hole of the exploration of how can I biohack my body by putting myself into the cold and doing this crazy shit that this guy is like a 60-year-old superhuman breaking world record, 21 world records. I'm like, I want to go learn from that guy. And man, where your focus goes, the energy flows. Or like my man Jayson said, energy flows where intention goes, because it's all about the intention of the mind, the intention of the thought. And one of my passions in life is bringing awareness to the power of intention. Just like straight up, like my intention must be confident, or my intention is weak. It's bullshit. It's a bullshit little fake little lie. But if I can biohack my mind and make my intention confident, and even if I gotta fake it a little bit, like Muhammad Ali, where Muhammad Ali's like, before I was the greatest, I was just pretending I was the greatest, and you know, and like I had to make myself pretend to be the greatest, that I was pretending that I was the greatest. Well, for me, it's, if I'm gonna do anything in life, it's the confidence in the intention. Whether it's tying my shoe, I'm gonna be confident I'm gonna tie this shoe so clean, so perfect, it ain't never gonna come undone. That confidence and that intention all comes to a thought. And so guard your intention as you guard your heart. Guard your mind, and your mind is your intention. So when you put your thoughts and your intentions and you thinking stuff, be aware, man. Be aware. Don't be putting out no negative intentions into the world, even if it's just, oh man, it's hard, you know. No, shape it up. Shape your shit up and get confident. Even if you gotta be like Muhammad Ali and be like, I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. All right, let's go work out. You know, if me saying to myself, I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. Or it's Diego Sanchez walking out at the O2 Arena in London. Yes, 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 yes. Just that intention, that confidence in my intention to say yes. What are you going to do? Yes. What am I going to do? I'm going to go win. Yes. I'm going to go dominate. Yes. I'm going to be a champion. Yes. I am a champion. Yes. And so that's how that works for me. Energy flows where intention goes. I got my Cartabolic. This ain't even got much caffeine in it. And you see how much this Nutrabolics brand, it brings high quality ingredients. This ain't much caffeine right here. This is just pure positive energy. Vibing with my boy Jayson Wyner right here. Looking in this book that is getting me excited. Getting me excited about motivating myself about what I have to do in my life. And the challenges, the mountains that I gotta climb to get to the top.
Show them the cover. They want to see the cover. Everyone wants to see the cover.
So ask me something that you would like to know about the brand, Diego. Like, what would you like, you know, take a minute to digest it? Is there any stories or anything that you want to ask me?
My question for you, Jayson, is how, what, who, and when brought the dynamic of UFC and mixed martial arts to the branding of Nutrabolics?
You know, that's a great question. I think me and Rodney have always been fans of the sport. And, you know, that was an exciting era when the UFC was starting. And we saw the opportunity there by, you know, just being fans ourselves, right? Like, we were just fans. And I think the one thing that for us is that we've always wanted to sponsor and be part of things that we're interested in ourselves. So we said, you know what, if we're interested in it, this is just the beginning. And we got on that bandwagon, And you were actually one of the first people that we saw when you were fighting, in the Ultimate Fighting, when you were coaching and that whole time. You were a big part of us, being interested in that space. And when we came on board with you and during that era, and the UFC has just exploded since then.
Man, it's been, now it's worldwide, and you got billions of dollars behind this sport. But you guys had the intuition to see that this thing was booming. This was going to be something. And I don't remember very many supplement companies jumping on the mixed martial art wagon. There wasn't, didn't seem like there. It was just more about bodybuilding and a little bit about, getting lean and fitness. This was even before fitness really exploded.
Yeah, we just went all in. I remember us sponsoring so many UFC events, whether it was the shorts, the shirts, bringing the athletes to Canada, doing the shows. UFC became such an big part that whole time with the brand. And for us, it just made sense because of our supplements, the way they were designed for athletes. And we really found that being in the UFC and doing the type of training that they were doing, it was crazy training.
It's 3 times a day, sometimes 4 times a day. We're doing strength and conditioning. At this time we were doing everything. We were doing everything: lifting, strength, powerlifting. We're doing yoga. We're doing jiu-jitsu. We're doing Muay Thai. We're doing kickboxing. We're doing boxing. And this is before people started doing karate and all the other arts. And so, man, you look at a mixed martial artist and what they put their body through. There's not very many other athletes that go through the strain and the pain of MMA, because you got to realize this isn't just repetition injury. These are real injuries. You're busting your joint out sometimes. You're gonna roll your ankle and it's gonna be bad. And if you do it long enough, like me, I did it for 22 years, and I'm still doing it. But I've injured every joint in my body. I've injured it. I've had to learn. That's why I am such a firm believer in healing and the ability to heal, because I've done it, man. I've overcame so many types of injuries. One time I got slammed on my head. Carl Parisian slammed me on my head, a judo throw, and I was only 24 years old, and I had a career-ending injury in my neck. But just being able to, have the right people around you, and have that belief, just like you said, the intention. I'm gonna heal. Not maybe I'm gonna heal. Not I hope I heal. No, I am gonna heal. This is gonna get better. And that's that intention, and setting that intention with confidence. Like I said, confidence in that intention. I am going to heal. I am going to heal. And for the past 5 years, I've been dealing with a hip injury, and the hip is a little different. It was a little harder to work around because I love running mountains, and I had to adapt, find other ways to get that type of work in. I had to get on the bike. I had to get in the pool. I had to be at the yoga class. But sure enough, it's 5 years, and my hip is starting to feel better. It is getting better, and I didn't go get the surgery, and I didn't even get the MRI. And I didn't even want that MRI. I didn't want that MRI because I already know what they were gonna say. You're gonna get that. We're gonna put you under the knife. But I'm a real big believer in healing, and I think all fighters need to believe in their ability to heal, because it's a dangerous sport, man. And you got to take care of yourself. And sometimes taking care of yourself in combat sports means taking a break. And I've had 5 concussions throughout my career, 3 in training, 2 in a fight, and I had to step back after that and be like, Diego, no, you need to heal. You can't go back to the gym. You can't be sparring. You need 3 months no contact. You need 3 months no alcohol consumption. You need to take care of yourself. You need to heal. And I think that I did a really good job at this. And I think there's a lot of other fighters out there who didn't really just take the time to research the analytics of what makes you worse, what makes you better, and taking that time. Because when you're in the race to be a champion, you just want to just work more. You want to get back in the gym. You want to get, if you lost your fight, you want to get back on the winning streak, whatever it is, and for me, I grew up at the Jackson Wink gym, which was always one of the just most competitive gyms ever. And so it was even just being the best in that gym was tough, man. We had Carlos Condit, we had GSP even there, we had all the best guys, Rashad Evans, Keith Jardine. We were there was monsters in that room, and they were all bigger than me. And I say that a big part of my success was training with those big guys, man. Training with those big guys. Keith Jardine, man. How'd I win the Ultimate Fighter so easy? That whole training camp for Kenny Florian, I couldn't walk. I had the broken leg. And so the only training I did for that whole fight, most people don't even know this, but this is how it went down. The whole training camp was only thing I would do every single day. I'd go into the gym, I get in Keith Jardine's guard, and I would try to ground and pound him. And he'd try to put me in submissions, and he was bigger, stronger. So like for me to if he had his grips on my hands, if I was in his guard and he had his grips on me, it was hard, man. Like that guy got a strong grip, and so when I got in there with Kenny Florian, it was like nothing. That's all I did. I just got in his guard and tried to ground and pound Keith Jardine the whole training camp because I had a broken leg. I couldn't even walk. Had to come with a cane and put tape, just regular athletic tape, on the brake every day, and survived and healed.
Is there a question or anything that you want to know about the history of Nutrabolics in the last 20 years?
Yeah. My question about Nutrabolics would be, what was the biggest challenge for Nutrabolics to be a success? What was the thorn in your side? What was the hard part? Because nothing's easy, and obviously you guys put a great blueprint for success and made this brand what it is today. But I know that you guys had to have some hard times too.
I think that's a great question. I mean, the blueprint to success, I think, for us, has been to be resilient. No matter what happened, no matter how bad it got, we just kept pushing. We kept going. We kept believing. No would turn into maybe.
Okay.
And maybe would eventually turn into yes.
All right.
And there was when we would think about making things happen, if we were thinking about it, one of us would push it to make it bigger. Okay. If I was talking to Rodney about an idea, he would want it to go on a bigger scale. That's not big enough. We gotta bring it up a notch. So we would always shoot for the stars. We would always shoot for the top.
Shoot for the moon.
Yeah, and you know what? That's kind of what's kept us both, pushing the brand, right? It's like most people, when we had one big, huge celebrity, they'd be comfortable, but we never got comfortable. Comfort is something that, I think brings down companies, right? Or brings down athletes that are successful, and they get comfortable, and they get too comfortable. And then that comfort ends up being their downfall. Yeah. And for us, we were always so hungry. I was always so hungry. I remember people would work for me, and I remember saying to some of the people that were struggling in sales, and they'd be struggling, and I could hear one guy at the cooler talking to this other guy, and he'd be saying, I'm having a hard time. I'd say, what time did you get up this morning? He said, I don't know. I got up at 8 o'clock. I said, how are you getting up at 8 and I'm getting up at 5? How does that make sense? Tell me how that makes sense. Please, like, explain it to me. How am I getting up at 5 and you're getting up at 8? And that hunger has stayed with us. Just that drive, to keep going. No matter what. No matter how many people said no to me, it didn't matter. Like, honestly, I could hear 100 no's. Like, it didn't matter. Like, one of the things is that we always thought outside of the box too. I don't know if you knew like some of our stories, but like let's just say, for example, that you were a retailer.
Yeah.
And you were not taking my calls, not taking my emails. Let's say you were a big retailer. Let's say you had hundreds of stores, right? You're thinking you're safe, right? Oh, you know what? I don't want to carry Nutrabolics. I'm just going to junk mail their email, press block on the phone, right? Mm-hmm. But no, like for us, what we would do in a situation like that is I would make these lock boxes. Before the 9/11 thing, I would get these beautiful lock boxes made, okay? And we had a ton of these lock boxes. And they'd have a little yellow sticky note on them. And it would say, call me when you want the key. And I would send these lock boxes out with no key to people, right? So imagine you're in your house, especially if you're a female, and you get this lock box with no key. At first, the female is going to think you're crazy, right?
Yeah.
But 3 weeks goes by, she's got a lock box in her house with no key. Oh, you think about a female's brain, she's going to want to know what's in that box.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So we broke a lot of people down with these lock boxes.
What?
And if they didn't...
The lock box, that's what I needed to hear. That's the story. The lock box story. That's a good story, man.
And
that's completely innovative. That's genius.
Yeah, and if you didn't, for whatever reason, you held out for more than a month and you didn't call me, my next step, is I wasn't done there, right? We're going to send you a shitload of fucking balloons, okay? Every balloon is going to have my phone number and say, call me. Okay, so you get this massive balloons to your house, yellow balloons with my phone number written on every single balloon.
Oh, wow.
We're breaking you down, bro. And if that doesn't work, if you're still somehow managed to hold me off and not break, just out of sheer, this guy's entertaining me, I'm going to give him a call, right? Mm-hmm. We'll go at you through your dog's Instagram, your cat's Instagram, because the thing is that what people don't realize, a lot of people got closed through their pet's Instagram because these people that have huge followings, let's say, believe it or not, they have 100 people who follow their dog, but they check that dog Instagram account.
Yeah.
They do. Like, believe it or not, they may have 150 people who check their dogs, and I've closed people through their cat's or their dog's Instagram, where I've literally made contact and been like, hey, you like that lockbox? And then we start the conversation. And yeah, so doing stuff like that, thinking outside the box, and really, not being so conformed to the way society is. Like we went out there and we made it happen no matter what. We're going to take a quick commercial break because I got to tell you about this new company that is exploding in the men's below the waist grooming category, and they're called Manscaped. This is the Performance Package 4.0. And what you get is you get the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. Super soft, you can get in there and have the cleanest shave with your balls with this. I've also got this Weed Whacker. It's the electric nose and hair trimmer. If you're gonna go out on a date, you gotta have your nose hairs looking fly, you gotta have your ear hairs looking fly, and that's why they've included this. Plus, after you've shaved your balls, you gotta have the crop preserver, the ball deodorant. And not only do you get a ball deodorant, you get a ball toner, the Crop Reviver ball toner. Boom, right there. You wanna wash yourself off with this ultra premium body wash. Okay, I love this stuff. Honestly, this is probably a game changer alone. I wanna tell you about the men's boxer briefs from Manscaped that are also included. Look at these briefs. This is the whole package right here, okay? You're gonna go to manscaped.com, you're gonna type in the code PERFORM20. For a limited time, you're gonna get 20% off, plus free shipping. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. In my history, of hiring salespeople, you know, I'm very passionate about sales. But one of the things I would do every time someone would come in for a sales job, I wouldn't even look at their resume, but I would say to them, to their face, you are not going to make it in this position. You cannot make, you want to work for Nutrabolics? And the only reason I said that is because I wanted them to fight.
You gotta have someone to say.
I want them to tell me.
I will make it in this.
Yeah, I want them to tell me because I don't look at their resume. I look at their eyes. The eyes tell me everything. So if I can see in their eyes and I can see them fight for it, then I know they got what it takes.
All right.
Yeah, that was another thing for me. You know, I'll tell you one last thing is that, you know, for us, when we were hiring, you know, and building Nutrabolics, building the infrastructure, you know, we had to really hire great people. You know, it's not just me and Rodney. There was a lot of great people that we had around us, and we had to find those great people. You know, you got to go through a ton of so-so people to find those diamonds, right? But I remember this one story where I had this guy call my office about 40 times trying to get a hold of me, okay? He's calling, my secretary's like, oh, sending me emails. By the 50th call, I said to my secretary, if this guy calls again, put him through.
Okay.
She looked at me like, what? I said, anybody who calls me 50 times, get him on the phone. I want to hear what this guy's got to say, right? So I gets on the phone, and it just so happens that this guy was a discharged Marine.
Okay.
And I like that because Marines know work ethic.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And a Marine is the highest level you can be.
Yeah,
So-
damn near crazy work ethic, right?
So he told me he's a discharged Marine. He loves Nutrabolics. He wants to come work with me. I said, you know what? You're hired. And not only that, I'm flying to LA and I'm going to let you run my US sales division. And I literally flew to LA to a trade show. True story. He took over and he was my best salesman in 5 years. He worked for me for 5 years and he just killed it. And that's awesome. Because he reminded me of me.
Yeah.
That pit bull, that hardworking, not taking no. And that's why Nutrabolics made it 20 years. To answer your question, we had that just sheer resilience of no, we're gonna make it. It doesn't matter. Like we're gonna make it. It's just like you said. Like I'm gonna fight one-on-one, right? I'm used to fighting 4 guys. Listen, when these sales guys used to work for me, when you got all these huge celebrities working for you and you can't sell the products, bro, I couldn't afford Color Ink when I started. Okay, don't tell me you can't sell these products. I used to use the same fax line as my phone line because I couldn't afford another phone line. Okay, I couldn't even afford to have these freaking products bottled. Okay, we had to bring these products to my parents' house, blow dry the lids, put the freaking labels on by hand.
Wow.
Okay, and you talk to me about you can't sell these products when you got all these celebrities endorsing you and like you got 100 flavors or whatever, like 100 SKUs. So we just had that that we remembered where we came from. We kept that desire, that drive, you know, because that's 20 years is a long time, right? You know, you got to be hungry. There's a lot of people out there who work hard.
A lot of people don't make it 10 years.
Yeah, you got to be starving. You know, like every day we would go in and we would be freaking starving. And I would call however many people I had to call that day and then some, you know, just pushing each other. And that's, I think, the story of what made us where we are today. And, you know, that resilience. And I mean, you share that resilience in your stories. I mean, you have that same mentality where it's like you came from that same cloth just in a different way. You know, you used your ability to get where you are today and you believed in it and you used your mental mindset to just keep going. It didn't matter, you know, it didn't matter what the universe threw at you. You just kept going and pushing. And I think that's why we've gotten along and worked together and still work together over all these years.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, for sure. I learned that lesson in my sophomore year of high school. You know, it didn't take getting beat up by 4 guys on one day. It took getting beat in front of people on the wrestling mat every single time. And my sophomore year, I lost every single match. The entire season, the entire year, I lost 18 in a row. 18 was the number. I'll never forget it. I lost 18 matches in a row, and I remember people just being like, why don't he just quit? You know, he just keep losing. But I kept getting tougher every time. I kept getting stronger every time. I didn't look at it like that. I wasn't a quitter, and I wasn't gonna quit. And finally, in the state tournament, the last, all the matches are over. It's just the state tournament, and I won 2 on the losers bracket. I got my Letterman jacket. That was my goal. I just wanted to be cool and have a Letterman jacket, walk through the halls at the school and be a part of something. And I only won 2 matches, but the next year I came back. I made it to the semifinals. I didn't win it, but I made it to the semifinals. And the next year I came back, my senior year, my last chance, and I won it, and I won it for my team too. And we brought home a team title. I brought home the individual title, and against all odds, I refused. I said, no, I'm gonna be a state champion. You know, like, and even when I was a sophomore, I want to be a state champion. I believed, and I had that faith. But even after 18 losses in a row, man, most people break, but I didn't break, man, and I learned, and that's what drove me through my career in UFC. Even fighting BJ Penn in the world championship fight and losing, and coming back from that and being able to do another 10 years in UFC, still consistent with the best, beating good guys, putting on great performances, you know, being able to do that, none of that would have been possible if I would have given up on my sophomore year. If I would have given up and said, nah, Mom, I want to do a different sport. I think I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna try basketball. Wrestling ain't for me. But like you said, resilience, and I stuck to it. I kept with it, and it led me to my calling in mixed martial arts, and the mixed martial arts career has been great because I've gotten to inspire people, motivate people. That's the thing that I'm most proud of, is just, you know, these people come up to me sometimes and they're like, Diego, I watched that fight with you, and after that, I got the motivation to go to the gym the next day and get in shape, and story after story after story, man. And so, you know, when I sign a poster, when I sign a picture, I always just put a little message on there, you know, never quit. You know, never quit, never give up on yourself, and believe. And that's been my method to success. And now here I am 40 years later. No, not 40 years later, 40 years young, and still doing it, still chasing it. And at this point in my career, I've already done everything except for win the UFC championship. And all I want to do is go out there and show not the Diego Sanchez toughness, not the Diego Sanchez best conditioning in the game. I want to go out there and show pure skill and understanding for the concepts and the principles of mixed martial arts. To build my brand is Diego Sanchez Jiu-Jitsu, Diego Sanchez MMA, Diego Sanchez legacy, my legacy, you know, not anything else, but everything that I put into that sport, to my craft. Everything that I put in since that fight at 9 years old, when they put those hits in me, and I walked home with a red face and red eyes and crying, heartbroken. It's that ability to not give up, to not quit, and to keep faith, man. Because, you know, in life, there's gonna be a lot of things you don't understand. You know, we could try so hard, we could read all the books, we could talk to all the smartest people, but you still just aren't going to understand some things. We live in a very mysterious universe. And so I tell people, believe, man. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dream. Believe in yourself. And don't give up on yourself. And don't quit. You know, and that's been my proof to success, and here I am, you know, at 40, coming to the window is closing on how many more fights I can have. I'm aware that I can't fight forever. I can't fight till I'm 50. I could try, but I would be much more happy just helping people and being a teacher. And so, but while I'm still doing it, I got to do it right. I got to capitalize on that window because it is my passion, it is my love, it is my art, it is my blessing. And when you know that your blessing doesn't last forever, in one form, in the competition form, it has to expire, because age is, we're all going to get old, you know, and so it has to expire. And so while I still have it, I got to do it the best I can with smart, wise people around me, you know, like you said, like, you know, I gotta have my coach that's gonna be the right one. You know what I mean? The right one, and not necessarily all the right techniques that he knows. It might just be he knows how to support me right, you know, how to motivate me right, how to be a good brother, and not be like, oh, you're slacking. No, be like, hey man, you know, we missed you. Like, get over here, man. We need you. We need you too. You know, you need to be here, or just, you know, take a different method. Like you sent a lockbox. Maybe just show up at my house. You know what I mean? And knock on the door and be like, hey, let's go, bro. Let's go. It's time to train. You know, like, things change, and we all evolve and adapt as we get older and wiser. And that's what I'm trying to do, just evolve and adapt and leave my legacy, you know, leave my legacy. And when I leave my legacy and it's done, I just want to be able to just look back and smile, be proud of myself, you know, and hey, you know, I did it, you know, no regrets. I fought the best. I gave it my all. I overcame injuries, and I inspired some people along the way, you know, made them better people.
That was amazing, yeah. Listen, Diego, thank you so much, man. You've been amazing. We really appreciate you coming on Perform. And, yeah.
Dude, super stoked about the book. I'm going to get on it tonight, bro, dude. Like, that's exciting, man. And
man,
it's good.
that.
It's good to know you, and it's good to know somebody that is willing to put the time and the energy into a book like that, because that ain't about you and about you making money on that book. I know that you might, but that's about you really trying to help people, man.
No, it is, 100%.
You know, from your heart, you know, from your heart, and that's why you did it, and that inspires me.